Hey, Walt here from waltinpa.com, and I've got a little bit of a story to tell. And it all started yesterday. So, yesterday was the first day that I got a chance to hunt at the local archery club. I'm a member, I've got my volunteer time in, and I've got permission to hunt on the grounds. Me and two other people have plans to use the grounds fairly frequently. The other two guys have been hunting there pretty regularly the last couple of weeks, and we were trying to work together in a sense so that we knew where one another were. We didn't want to, walk under one another's stands, that sort of thing. So we got together at about 3:45 or something like that yesterday, and walked into the woods together with a general plan. We each splintered off and did our own thing. I wound up coming home or coming back to the clubhouse late. I was the last person down. The guy that taught me everything I know about hunting, which isn't a whole lot. I haven't been hunting for very long, but one of the things that he stressed was to wait until it's really dark. You don't want to miss an opportunity, so you stay up in the tree as long as possible until you ethically can no longer take a shot. So that's kind of what I do. I stay in the tree until I need a headlamp to get down. And then I made my way back to the clubhouse. And the guys were kind of giving me a hard time because of how late it was when I came back, or how dark it was. So today rolls around. I had some free time. I work from home, and I decided to hit the woods in the morning. So I go over to the club. I left my house at like 4:30. By about 5:10, I was sitting in the tree, and I kind of bundled up in my camo. It's a little cool. The wind is blowing gently, the tree's kind of rocking, and I'm really struggling to keep my eyes open. Eventually I start to nod off, and I wake up to the sounds of leaves crunching, behind me and to my right. And immediately I knew that it wasn't a squirrel, so I kind of roll my head and look, and I see this black shape move through the woods, and it kind of moves away from me into the woods, mulling around for a little bit. It goes a little bit further into the woods. It ends up crossing over the trail that I was hunting over, up into the woods further away from me, and then kind of makes its way back toward me again, but further up the hill. And this all happens over the course of about 20 minutes. And it all happened, I don't know, it was like something out of a nature film. It was very picturesque. The sky's just starting to light up. It's that purpley bluish color. Everything is black except for the sky poking through the trees. And then I see the silhouette of this deer, this doe, come across the top of the hill and just kind of walk on through. It was kind of a really amazing experience. It looked fantastic. So that was the most action I had seen at all this season. So I stayed in the tree for, 2 hours. I guess it was about 7:30 by the time I came down. And headed home because I had stuff to do. And then I got word that my wife had some extra time with her clinical classes and was going to take the night off. She wanted to utilize some of that time and get caught up on some stuff. So suddenly I had some free time that I wasn't expecting. So I headed back over to the club tonight. I wound up going into the woods ahead of the other two guys. I didn't realize they were also going out again today. So I decided I wanted to try a different spot, and I was under the impression that one of the three of us was hunting down in this low section, and I took the high road, and I went up the top of the hill around toward the back of the property, and I start getting set up. I start going up this tree that's really too big for my climber, and I got about 10 feet up and just didn't really feel comfortable. So I came back down the tree. It was like a calamity of errors, go up the tree part way, come down the tree, get all my stuff off the tree, move 20 yards down the trail, find another tree, go up that tree. And as I start going up the tree, here comes Mike walking down the trail, and suddenly I feel bad. I'm thinking, oh great, I'm stealing Mike's spot. So we talk for a minute. He says that he's about 40 yards further with a ladder stand. Don't worry about it. He's shooting a recurve. He's not going to reach out as far as I am. He's not going to reach out toward me for a deer anyway. It's just too far for him. So, with my conscience at ease, I go up the tree. Mike goes to his tree. He gets settled, and we're sitting there. and night's approaching. Finally, it's starting to get dark. And in the back of my mind, I keep thinking back to the night before where the guys were giving me a hard time. Now, Mike cannot slip out of the woods without walking directly under my tree. So he's not coming back until I'm coming back. So I'm starting to feel a little guilty. It's getting dark. It's getting late. You know, I can still see plenty, you know, of everything around me. The woods are dark, but where I would be shooting at a deer, there's more than enough light to identify the deer, you know, see how many points it has, you know, all that sort of thing. So I'm feeling pretty good about the level of light, but I'm feeling guilty because I've got Mike stuck up in the tree. So I give it a couple more minutes, and I decide, okay, I'm gonna come down. I don't want to make Mike sit in the tree all night. You know, I don't want to make him wait as late as I would. So I get my gear together. I'm trying to stay as quiet as possible. I come down the tree. I get out of my climber. I take my backpack. I set it on the ground. I take the arrow off my bow. I stick it in the quiver. I set that on the ground. Now I'm reaching up to uncouple the climber from the tree, and I start to hear footsteps. Now Mike is to my right. Footsteps are coming from, I don't know, off to my left. Sort of between where I was and where Mike was. I knew it wasn't him, and now I'm starting to panic. I'm on the ground. There's no way I'm getting back up in the tree. So the only thing I can do, I grab my bow, I knock an arrow, I get my release, and I'm ready to go. I'm just kind of huddled up next to the tree, you know, not knowing what to do. My climber's still in the tree, my backpack's laying on the ground, and the footsteps are getting closer. And they're getting closer and closer, and I'm like 99% sure that this is a deer and it is not Mike. But I don't want to come to full draw because there's that 1% chance that it could be Mike. I know that it's not, but it could be. So I'm waiting, and the next thing I know, head and the shoulder come peeking out around the tree. You know, this silhouette of a deer is looking right at me, and it's 15, 20 feet away, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't, its body was kind of blocked by the tree, so even if I had a shot, I really didn't have a shot. And even if I were to take a shot, this deer is right in between me and Mike, and I'm on the ground. So I really don't want to shoot at it, you know, with Mike being beyond the deer. So I'm just kind of frozen there. I don't know what to do. The deer snorts and runs off a little bit. I guess it didn't know what I was because I was kind of crouched behind the tree. It runs, I don't know, maybe 15 yards at an angle away from me, right towards Mike, and I can hear it, you know, snorting and stomping and making all kinds of noise. And I'm thinking to myself, Mike, shoot this deer. It's got to be, you know, right in your line of sight. Take a shot. And the deer keeps doing this for a good 2 minutes before finally it starts working its way away. Finally, it gets far enough away that my nerves settle. You know, you get that adrenaline dump, and I unnock the arrow. I get my stuff situated, and then I start taking the tree stand down. And then finally, here comes Mike. And the first words I say to Mike were, "Oh, you know, I'm so sorry, Mike. I didn't blow a shot at that deer for you, did I?" And Mike's got this giant smile on his face. That was so cool. So, at first I felt so. I felt so guilty, because I thought I screwed up a shot on this deer for Mike. And then, you know, after I realized I didn't screw anything up for Mike, I was getting kind of angry. I came down out of the tree because I didn't want to hold Mike up. And I told Mike that. I said, you know, I came down early because I didn't want you stuck up in the tree all night. And he says, oh, yeah, you know, I would have came down maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. But, you know, I wanted to give you a chance. So here he was, willing to sit in the tree for as long as it took. And as a result, totally blew a shot on this deer. It would have been, it walked more or less, it would have walked right under my tree. 8-yard shot maybe from where I was. It would have been beautiful. It would have been a chore tracking it in the dark, and if it would have kept running the way it came in, it would have went down a steep hill, which would have been a lot of work. But even so, it was it's just such an adrenaline jump, you know, surge, just being on the ground with that deer, staring it in the face and having it snort at me. But at the same time, I want to kick myself because that was my shot. You know, that would have been a great opportunity to take a deer. But live and learn. Next time, even if anyone is remotely in the area, I'm gonna pin them up the tree, and they're staying up there until I'm ready to come down. So, didn't get a deer, but at least I've got a fun story to tell.